Good afternoon, everybody. Here it is, 2022 ZX10R. We're going to do modifications to this bike, but what I wanted to do was take you through the whole process. So as you see it right now, this is the stock configuration. No modifications have been done to this bike. As a matter of fact, the only mod that's been done to this bike is I put a battery tender pigtail on the battery. That's it. So some of the things that we're going to cover on this bike here are going to include modifications to the exhaust and pair valve and some flapper valves. But I wanted you to at least get a look at the bike. And then I'll take it out for a ride and you'll be able to hear it later. But this is just a gorgeous, gorgeous bike here. I love the colors. I love the style of the fairing, especially the nose. And, you know, the aerodynamics on this is just incredible. Now, I got about 560 miles on it. So, just under the 600 mile break-in. And if you hang on just a second here, I'm going to turn over to the parts. All right, so here are all the parts together for this full modification I'm doing, multi-modification I'm doing to this ZX10R 2022. So we'll just start off from the top left here. We've got the SC Project. These are the assorted brackets and clamp and collars. Full titanium. It includes that mid pipe. So this will just rest right under the foot peg. That nozzle will kind of protrude out behind your heel. Next thing we got here is some push pins. All right, we got these push pins here, and I'll give you guys a list of all the different parts that that I have here, the vendor and manufacturer and all that prices that I paid. So I'll be using this for the for the removal of the passenger foot peg bracket. Those two bolt holes will be empty, and there is a block-off plate you can get. I didn't like the look, so I put a push pin in there, and it worked really good. So I went ahead and bought a kit there and made sure I had enough for four. The next item I got that over at Harbor Freight. Same with this here. I got it at Harbor Freight. This is going to be the shrink tube that I'm going to use for the tail eliminator to replace the light that's on the license plate bracket. It's going to be an LED light, so I'll be doing some clipping and crimping and soldering to make a connection on that. Next thing up here, since we're on that subject, is the Yoshimura fender eliminator. So it comes with all the necessary bolts. It also comes with these two little diode looking things here. They're actually, it's a soldering crimp, and you just use a lighter and it'll solder those two items together and shrink wrap it. So it's pretty cool. I got this on my H2 and my 14 and the left and right brackets that'll retain the existing turn signals. Okay, so and then I'll probably run a grommet where all the wires come in under the seat, just in case. I gotta get a little rubber grommet. Same you use for fairings, you know, where you're popping a pin through it. So I'll use one of those, trim it down, make it fit the hole, and that'll tighten it up. I did that on the 14, worked out really good. All right, so we got some various plugs here. The first first 5 there, the smaller ones, are going to be for the throttle bodies when we take the breather vacuum hoses off the back, and then the one on the front. And you'll see that. And we're just going to plug those babies up. That's part of the emission deletion. And then these other ones here, these larger ones, are going to be for, holy smokes, I forgot. I got the bigger ones for a reason. Well, if I remember, I'll come right back to it. Just above that, we got the plug. This is an OEM part. It'll be on the list. This is going to plug that round item there. Is just going to plug the air duct there, or the air intake duct. When we remove that actuator, you got to plug that hole there. So, and we're going to do a bit more to it too. All right, on the block-off plates here, they're from PSR. What's included is a plug that you're going to put in the bottom of the air cleaner box over on the left side towards the middle. And we'll take a gander at that. And then the next item up is going to be this featherweight lithium-ion battery we're replacing. The lead acid battery that comes stock. And then we got a BMC filter. Of course, we got the instructions. And then moving on down, the rear seat pillion. And these are the associated bolts and screws, nuts and stuff. And then that's the pillion that is going to replace the seat. And then this is the underside of the bracket. And this bracket here is going to just mount on the bottom of this pillion, and that's what those bolts are for. And then of course this is attached. Just using these little plugs, you're just going to pull them through, and then it'll operate just like a rear seat. When you go to take it off, put it on. All right, and then the next item is going to be from Evotech. This is the radiator guard and the oil cooler guard and the associated hardware with that. I did a dry fit on this to kind of get an idea. It looks really good. They attach to each other, and I'm not sure what these little plugs are for. Probably going to go online and check that out when I get to that point. But those are the parts. Those are all the parts that we're going to put on the ZX10. We're going to have a lot of fun doing it. All right. I'll probably show this video again when we get started, or at least, this layout before we get started on the first item, which is going to be that fender eliminator kit there. All right, here are the tools that I use for disassembly and assembly of the 22 ZX10R non-ABS. We're going to start off over here in the top left. I got the service manual for the 10R and 10RR for years 21 to 23. Got that at the dealership. That was helpful in getting torque settings. Then I have various extensions. And I have foot-pound torque wrench, inch-pound torque wrench, and a normal size ratchet, smaller ratchet, and got some universal adapters there for getting in those tight spots. Various sockets, 5, 6, 10. I'm sorry, 5, 8, 10, and 13. And then we have 5, 6, and I'm sorry, we got 4, 5, 6, and 8. 4, 5, 6, and 8 on the hex. We got a little razor blade there that I used to kind of straighten out a couple fins that I bumped into on the back of the radiator. A few Allen wrenches, but mainly these are the 4 that I use the most for all the body panels and other attachments. I got this kit from Harbor Freight. It's Pittsburgh. I went ahead and got it because I needed this longer one with the rounded head on it. It would allow me to tighten the clamp bolts on the throttle body. All right, then we have our standard box open end. We got 8, 10, 12, 14, and 17. The 17 I used for the, I believe it was the O2 sensor. Yeah, I used it for the O2 sensor to remove the O2 sensor. And then I got this big auger bit here that I used to prop up the gas tank. Of course, I didn't take it out of the plastic case here. I left it in there, but it served its purpose when removing that fuel line. Scissors used to cut, various zip ties that I had to remove in order to get the harnesses off the panels. Then I used this tool here, which is a panel popping, tool. I used it to actually take the hoses off. That made it easy, and I didn't damage it. And then, of course, we got the various screwdrivers I used here. This big one here I used with a larger bit for the rear seat. The passenger seat locking mechanism. It's got two flathead. I'm sorry, not flathead. The head of the screws are flat, but they're Phillips head. So they sit up flush on that locking mechanism. That was helpful in making sure I maintained a good bite and didn't strip it. And then down here I have the needle nose pliers. I use that to take various clamps off hoses. And then finally I've got this scanner diagnostic scanner here from Li Ku. I don't know what that company is, but it's a OBD2. And then of course I got the adapter, all right, for the Euro 5 connector on the ZX10. You just plug it into this end here, and then on the tail of the bike, you'll see it. You've probably seen it in the video, or you're going to see it in the video, where I use this to clear the codes. And of course, I got this from More Mafia along with the ECU flash. So one last look at all the tools that I used to disassemble and assemble. All right, so our next shot is going to be jumping on the ZX10 and taking her for a ride. It's a little damp out, so we'll see how it turns out later today, maybe tomorrow. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Recording.
All right, guys, here we go. Let's take her for a spin. So this is the ZX10R 2022. It's the latest generation. It's got all the bells and whistles, and it's very comfortable, but it is very tame. A lot of the power has been taken away at the factory, and we are going to do those mods to help it breathe again. So I'm using a Cena 50C camera combo deal, and I did a ride earlier, but my mic wasn't working. Came back, tested it, damn thing wasn't working. Lo and behold, if I didn't have the jack wire backwards. So I got that corrected, and hopefully this audio is good. See how it sounds on the highway, on the expressway here, interstate. It'll and we'll do a nice little turnaround here. But other than that, I really love riding this bike. It is fun. It's a fun bike. There's no doubt about it. My son's got an older ZX10R. I think it's a 14 or 17. I'm not sure. I can't remember what year it was.
But probably one of my favorite features is going to be the cruise control. It's nice to swap hands. Don't have to worry about, going up and down on those long straightaways. I did connect my phone to it with the Bluetooth, and basically you can pretty much set everything on it. Your rider mode, your traction control, all that stuff. And then you got to send it like a packet, like an electronic packet. You send it to the bike while it's on, and it will prompt you on the screen on the dash. Letting you know that it's ready to take the packet. So let's see how this is here. I'm going to go get some gas and see how busy it is in here. Doesn't look too busy.
Recording.
All right, here we go, guys. Now we're just going to put around town. Here we go. I'm going to take this little jet on the interstate. What the hell this guy's doing? Well, we're going to take a back street here. I'm using the 50C Cena for high def, better stabilization recording. So this is all new to me. I mean, I've had a Cena, I've recorded a lot in the past, and but I've never done it, in a way where it's professional. Well, not professional, but so I'm going to give it a go, see how it works out. But what kind of inspired me about this build was, first, just getting the bike that Kawasaki have grown. At the time it was. Well, no, they've been Kawasaki Suzuki have grown for over a year now. Started off as Kawasaki have grown. And just a great service. The sales, service, parts, you name it. They got the best. I've never seen better staff in a motorcycle shop than I have at Kawasaki Suzuki have grown. So the idea was to take this bike that I bought from them, buy all the mods, buy all the parts for the mods that I want to do. That's not everything you can do to this 10. I mean, you could take the RR version and do some of the same mods that I'm doing to this one, and you'd have a monster. The RR is already in that race mode as compared to this one, stock, because the internal parts of the engine and everything is lighter, better forged. There goes a Ninja there. That's an older one. But still be able to take this bike out, have fun, rev it up a little bit, and and enjoy what the bike was designed to do, and that's to go fast. So I like a little bit of this and a little bit of that. There's a couple of roads around here that we go on, my wife and I, and the 14 is fun, but it's not as fun as, this 10. The H2 is fun, but it's not as much fun, because it's been tuned, flashed to really give you that top end speed. So it's a bit twitchy on the low RPMs. But as I was saying earlier, my son has a bike. He has the X10, and I rode it. We swapped. He rode my H2, and I rode his 10, and I didn't want to get off of it. I had fun. Comparatively speaking, handling-wise, it felt like I was on a 14, but not necessarily, around turns and stuff, because the 10 it's just so much better. You can lean and have all the confidence in the world that, you're planted. That was probably another factor inspiring me to go ahead and get this, was my son's bike. So here I am, doing what I got to do, having fun. So I got all these little mods broken down into, I guess, little projects. So we're going to videotape each segment, and then we're going to, review it, check it out, see what's good, what's not good. Hopefully we can get it on the first take. I'm not looking for perfection, but I am making sure that, whatever we do is captured enough that somebody that wants to do these mods has enough information, enough video footage to go through. And then most importantly, the parts. So I am going to share the details of the parts, part numbers, cost, where it was purchased. And I didn't just stick with one manufacturer or one brand. I'm kind of all over the board. A block-off plate's a block-off plate. I mean, you get it from Brock's, you get it from PRS, you get it from, any of the other manufacturers, and they're going to block off, right? I mean, there's really no block-off plate that's going to be better than the other. But when it came to the exhaust, I was really, really, really impressed with SC's slash cut. And the slash cut really is for me to say, oh man, that looks just like the H2, but it's shorter. So I've always, admired the H2 Van Diemen. Got lucky and found it on the SC project. I got that from Motovation, I think it's called. I guess they're the third-party vendor that sells it. I do believe that part is made in Italy. It was on a back order. Took about 3-4 weeks from the time I ordered it. Obviously didn't have it in stock, so they had to manufacture it. But the turnaround time for something that's back ordered 4 weeks, that's still pretty good, especially during these times. And then the Yoshi, that's the one I get. I mean, it's not the same exact one, but it's the same type that I got for the 14 and the H2. I'm really happy with it because you retain the blinkers, the OEM blinkers. Comes with some mounting brackets that you can wrap that rubber boot around, and it looks good. The main thing is it gets rid of that little flare of a rear fender. And then the BMC, I mean, I traditionally go with K&N. But, I mean, I've heard good stuff about BMC. Still have to look into if that has a oil film put on it. It looks like it does. Kind of looks like the K&N, but a different color. We'll see how that works out. And then for, once I take the exhaust off, the cat's coming off because the SC comes with the mid pipe. And then rear passenger foot pegs, the mounting brackets for them, those will be removed like I mentioned earlier. I mean, I could leave it on, but really, with the pillion on it, that's replacing the passenger seat, which is like a shell cowl, right? You really don't need to have those on there. So I did see some what they call block off plates that just block off the two bolts. And so what I did is I took a push pin, like the ones you see at the bottom tip of an underbelly fairing, where it puts the lower left and right cowlings together at the bottom. And I put one of those in the bolt hole where the passenger foot peg mounting bracket goes, and it looked great. Unfortunately, I only had one of those, so I went to Harbor Freight and I went ahead and bought, push pin kit, and I haven't tried it yet, but they have wide assortment sizes, so see how that works out. But either way, that's going to be pretty easy. And then, of course, once you take the cat mid pipe and the exhaust off, which I think the cat and mid pipe are both together, and the muffler, not the exhaust pipes, keeping the headers. I got the cables for the servo motor that controls the exhaust flapper valve, so I'm not going to tuck that away. I'm going to take it out. I did it on the H2. I took it out, took the pair valve out, and then I guess on this bike there's a flapper valve there, an intake flapper valve, so obviously taking that off, but I have to take the whole fairing off to do that. So I'm going to see how far I can get with taking the fairing off and see how all that works out. I'm going to put the battery in, take the ECU out. I mean, I got to take the fairing off anyways to get to the ECU. Well, not the whole fairing, but I've seen some people take it out without having to take the whole fairing off. I'm going to go ahead and take the whole thing off because we got to take the nose out, and then we got to split it apart, take the flapper valve out, and then patch that hole. It's probably about 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches in diameter. And then we'll turn those, we'll disable those two in the ECU, both those flapper valves, exhaust and intake. And then we'll set up the RPM a little higher. Whatever fuel mapping he's done for these mods, that's already built into his flash. Well, there she is, guys. Looking good. Looking good. Yeah, these are the push pins I was talking about right here, guys. All right, we'll see you in a minute.
Before we get started, I just wanted to kind of show you what I do in preparation to disassembly, or after a ride, before a ride, how I wash it. So basically I start from the top down. I mean, that's pretty much the method. I use a clean microfiber towel, and I use as hot water as I can get with Ajax dish soap, the yellow kind. That's what I use. This is about a 3-gallon bucket. I'm probably right at 2.5 gallons, and I probably put 3 squirts, maybe half cup. That's been my method for a very long time. That's the way I've always done it. You'll see the results. Try to get you a close up of what it looks like. You can see the bugs, and then over here you can see the polish finish here. You don't see any scratches any scuff marks, anything like that. Everything is pretty straightforward on the condition of the bike. And like I said, we just hit over 600 miles to get that first break-in period done, so I do the oil change, and went ahead and did that, got that out of the way, and then just looked in the owner's manual, and it actually tells you what the torque specs are for the oil drain plug and the oil filter. So if you are wondering what it is, it's pretty straightforward in there. Alrighty, so I'm going to set this camera up and we'll put this in a time lapse and you'll see how I wash it down. See you in a second. Alright, here we go. That first ring of the rag, I kind of leave a lot of water in it, enough that it doesn't drip. And I put the softer side versus this side here on top of the windscreen. I just let it soak. And what this does is it helps soften up the bugs before you wipe them off. And then I'll just kind of lift it up with my fingers. Take the rest of the rag here and just kind of get the bugs wet. Not really pressing hard, just getting water on it. And then you'll see there's some bugs there. You can see the shell of the bug and all that. And that's what scratches the windscreen. So then I just put it back in here and then wring it off just a little bit more, but not all the way. And that acts as somewhat of a lubricant for this, and makes it really easy on the windscreen. There might be a couple rough spots here and there, and you just take your time, take a look at it, just wipe it, try to use a clean part of the cloth for a new part of the body part. And then on these, I just use the rougher side here. Kind of gets into those little crevices there on the mirror frame. And you don't have to worry too much about the bubbles. You don't have to worry about streaks. You don't have to worry about films, anything like that. In the sun, it looks like you waxed it by using this method here. So I am going to shut up and just keep washing. We'll do a time lapse. Alright, the bike is all done and clean. Alright, so you got to see how I did it from top to bottom, but I wanted you to see what the screen looks like here. And the nose. Brake there. And down here. And the tank. See, it's got fuzzies on there. Tail. Light. That rear wheel. Yeah, she's pretty clean. Pretty clean. Looking good. There's the rear wheel. Oh, I'm sorry, the front wheel, what am I saying? All right. Got a little dust there. And I did all that with just these two microfibers. One was second gen, meaning that I used it already for the first time. So that's the second time I used it. I used it on the lower areas that weren't painted, and then the underbelly of the engine. This rag I used for all the painted surfaces, including the wheels, which were the last items I did with that rag. This is the water. And you can see it's pretty dirty. And then this is the oil rag I used. I used that to oil the chain. I sprayed it with WD-40, saturated it, grabbed the chain, spun the wheel, you know, with my hand. I didn't spin it with the engine. And then I used the remaining, you know, WD-40 juice that was on there just to kind of get off any, you know, grease stains like you seen me on the, right around the chain and the swing arm, where the chain goes over the front part of the swing arm closest to the engine. Yeah, I'll show you right here. Again, this part here, you got the swing arm that goes right there. And then down there, where the chain rides over this portion right here. This part right here. That's where it collects a lot of goo. But I cleaned that chain before I wrote it, after I bought it, I cleaned it. As soon as I had a chance to clean it, I did it right at the shop. Got all that goo off so it didn't make a mess. And just, you know, for me, what I do is after every one or two rides, I'll lift it up and go ahead and clean the chain. So it only takes a minute, gives me a chance to touch the wheel, check the tire pressure, check the chain slack, and, you know, I'm knocking out a lot of important safety checks, you know, before you ride, all in one step by just by cleaning the chain. keeps the chain clean and lubed enough for those 1 or 2 rides, and then I just do it again. All right, so we're going to go ahead and sign off, and we'll see you on disassemble. This is what the water looks like after cleaning the ZX10. Pretty nasty.